Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. It's Aisha Oni. So, I wanted to come to you guys. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to come and talk to you guys about ways to manage stress that have worked for me during this whole global pandemic, coronavirus, COVID 19, quarantine, stay at home, orders, all that. So, if you would like to hear some tips and tricks that have worked for me, stay tuned. Okay, so I know this is a very stressful time right now, just globally, for a lot of people. And there's a lot of uncertainty and unknowns, and there's a lot of things that we don't really know what's going to happen, just from a public health standpoint as well as a economic standpoint. Just a lot of different things are changing rapidly, and that can tend to cause a lot of different feelings. I've seen various posts and just talked to people that I personally know, and there is a sense, just seems like across the board, of anxiety, of little seemingly like more depression, more sadness, um, high level of anxiousness, and feeling of overwhelmingness. Again, not everyone reacts the same, but I feel like I have started to see kind of like a general trend, um, and these are things, again, I want to disclaim that I am not a medical professional. I'm not a public health professional. I'm not I can't diagnose anyone. I'm not a psychiatrist or a therapist or a counselor, anything like that. So if you are feeling any type of, symptoms, or need some more assistance with mental health or wellness concerns, I encourage you to please reach out to a medical professional that specializes in such matters. But these are just things that have helped me, and so I wanted to share, and feel free to give them a try and let me know how it goes. You can comment or email me, and I'll put my email in the description box. And then you can feel free, again, of course, to always comment, and then please share with someone who, even if it doesn't, you feel like may not help you, it may help someone else. So, okay, let's get right to it. Number one, keep or try to keep some kind of routine, even though it may be more unstructured. I know right now a lot of us are at home, our kids may be home for parents, and they're just, sometimes I know with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, where did the day go? What day is it? Like, I kind of know what day it is, but then kind of doesn't matter. Like, we're at home every day, right? So, I guess it does and then it doesn't. Time can really start to kind of, I think, fade into one another in an unstructured kind of setting, which kind of facilitates itself when you're forced to stay at home, right? So I try to, whether it's work out in the morning or in the afternoon, read, accomplish something from work, accomplish something for school, and then, maybe cook at a certain time every day, and then kind of wind down and get ready for bed. Now, I will say my bedtime has greatly, drastically changed. It's now like about a couple hours later than what it was. And again, it's because I know that I can get up later. My schedule is not as strict and structured right now. But try to keep some type of routine, because it's a familiarity. You kind of know what to expect, right? In these unexpected times. So that to me has been helpful. Number two, exercise. Whether that's walking in place, workouts from home, walking outside. I know here in Texas where I live, we are still able to go outside. Of course, keeping social distancing, but and your mask, but you can still take a walk outside, a jog, a run. There's different apps. I know there's like Noom. I use a walking one. I use a yoga one. Um, You know, if you have personal trainers, I know there's personal trainers doing a lot of virtual things, specifically now because more people are at home. So I think exercising, you know, it releases those endorphins. It's good for you anyway, and it helps reduce stress. So yeah, it's a way to stay healthy, both mentally and physically. And those are just like some of the benefits, right? So try to get exercise in, even though you're probably at home more. Use this time, number three, use this time for things you like to do, but you usually would say, oh, I don't really get time to do that. So, you know, when it's non quarantine time, you probably may like to color in adult coloring books, or you may like to compile playlists and listen to music, or you may like to binge watch Netflix. But you know, when you're in the hustle and bustle of daily life, a lot of times we don't get to do our hobbies or the things that we really care about as much as we would like to. So, you know, I found that since I do have a more unstructured schedule right now, I am able to focus more on those things that really I love to do and I like to do. Like I like to do makeup. With this look, yeah, and I'm doing that more, or if it's recording or what have you, try to do those things more that you naturally would like to do anyway. If you can, you know, carve out the time in your routine. Number four, take a few moments each day to gather your thoughts, reflect, and find at least one thing a day to be grateful for. This has been a lifesaver for me. Like in the morning, every time when I wake up, I try my best to pray. I'm a Christian, so I identify as a Christian. So I try to pray, and I might read a verse or get like a daily Bible verse. And then I usually also have quotes that I look at, like inspirational quotes. I also have affirmations that I might look at, something like that. And then I also use the app Headspace and Calm for my mindfulness. Um, so I usually try to do a mindfulness and meditation piece, which to me, mindfulness is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like metacognition to me. It's like thinking about your thinking, and being aware of your mind and what it's thinking about, and having kind of like a sense of control over that. And I think it's helpful. It helps your mood, and it helps regulate my thoughts and just my mood and my reaction to things. And I think it's been a plus since I've been doing the Headspace app, the mindfulness, for about 2 months now. So I would say like 60 days. So it was before pre like the push to stay at home and the pandemic, like where people were forced to like go into, you know, their homes. But I have seen like kind of a difference in how I handle things, and it does help my stress. Just reflecting also during those moments on, like, you know, what I have coming up, what, you know, any thoughts I may have, and then just trying to find one thing every day, right in the morning, right in the beginning of my day, I do it, that I'm grateful for. You know, whether I woke up that morning, my family, my husband, my son, my job, my ability to pursue a career, my ability to, you know, have a YouTube channel, my ability to create. I mean, it's just so many things to that I find that I could be grateful for, and I'm sure there's so many that I miss, because I tend to take, you know, I can take things for granted for sure, and so I just feel like my day tends to go much better when I do those steps and when I take time. Maybe it's the first 15, 20 minutes, probably, usually like I would say half an hour tops a day that I give myself. And I do sometimes, I have to push myself an extra 30 minutes earlier to get that in. But it has made such a difference, just I think, in reducing some levels of stress and anxiety. And I tend to have like a long to-do list in my mind that never seems to end, because it seems like, well, it'll never end, right? There's always something to do and that you haven't got to. So I realized that I was getting overwhelmed and kind of having a higher level of anxiety about like not completing this by the end of this day, or, you know, of course there's deadlines, but that was kind of a thing that I had to, you know, really pay attention to, and I'm working through it, and figuring out how to have a good balance. And one way I do that is by reflecting, is by being thankful. That really helps. Number five, understand that our normal is changing. It may continue to change in the future, and we're not quite sure. I don't think anyone really knows. Maybe very few people on earth really knows any type of real time frame. It's unknown right now. But our normal, or what we consider to be normal, is changing. And that we're trying to find our way, globally. Globally, we're trying to find our way as humanity and what a new normal looks like. You're hearing public health officials and celebrities and just general people, everyday people say, well, what is this really going to look like? Oh, I'm going to get to go back to work, but it's not the way I thought. I'm going to get to go do, retail eventually when the economy opens, but it's not the way it once was. And so life as we may know it may very well have changed permanently or for a prolonged period of time. Either way, that can produce a high level of anxiety because, again, it's unknown. We don't know for how long. We don't know what that really entails. And then fear can come with that as well. For me, to kind of help manage that, just trying to find peace and joy or happiness in each moment, you know, each moment that we have on a daily basis. So just trying to basically, that's another way of saying like living in the moment and finding joy in those moments. And I find myself, if I break my day down um, moment by moment, and sometimes it has to go by that. It has to go moment by moment, second by second. And then those seconds turn into minutes, and those minutes turn to hours. And before you know it, the day has gone. And now once you've gone through one day, you repeat it and you move on to the next day. And it's almost a way to me like putting one foot in front of the other. And you get through it. And you can move through life that way if you kind of view it that way. It has been helpful to me. Versus thinking kind of more abstractly like, oh my gosh, there's all these things going on. Where do I fit in? There's a lot of big questions. But sometimes I have to break it down to like literally moment by moment, finding the happiness or joy in that moment and then moving on. And that's okay. And that's okay. That is perfectly okay. And then finally, my last but not least, there does seem to be a general, again, a pattern of a sense of loss of control. Again, a lot of unknowns. A lot of people were forced home from their jobs, their careers, laid off. Loved ones, people they know or themselves may be sick or may be exposed to others who are sick, may have been compromised, affected by the virus, both health wise and economic wise. And so, as we feel that more things become out of our daily control or our control at all, what helps me is to try to focus on what I can control in those moments on a day-to-day basis. So, no, I can't control the executive stay-at-home orders, issued to stay home for the good of public health. However, while I'm at home, can I control my home not becoming, overly chaotic, overly disorganized, to the point where I'm feeling kind of anxious and uneasy about my home space or my office space? So what can I control? I can control my thoughts. I can control my mindfulness, right? And thinking about what I'm thinking. I can control my reaction to things. But a lot of it does start at my thinking. And so in these moments where so much is out of my control, there is still some things that I can control. And so I choose to focus on those. And that has been very helpful. So all of these things have been helpful for me in helping to manage and reduce stress, specifically during this coronavirus stay at home global pandemic time. But I think some of this advice or all this advice could be applied at any time during your lifetime. But specifically this time, I know that a lot of us are facing just very tough circumstances, very different circumstances from what we're used to, and that can be a lot to manage and handle. And so, we all know that stress is a part of life. We can never 100% get rid of it, while we're here on earth. There will always be, something that stresses us out or causes us some type of anxiety. It's scientists have studied this. It's really biological to us. It's it's they have the fight or flight response, like just how we respond to threats or stress or things that we take as threats to our environment or ourselves. And while we can never, I think, truly get away or eliminate all those things, I do believe that we can find ways and strategies and be mindful or be thinking about, how things impact us and how can we reduce our stress and how we can manage and cope with it while it's happening. Well, that's all I have. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. It's a little bit longer than usual. Again, please comment, share, and if you would like to share things maybe a little more privately that you don't want share on YouTube, then you can always email me, and that'll be in my description box. I am praying for you all and your families. I pray that you all have positive vibes and wellness around you and with you during these unprecedented times. Thank you again. Take care, beautiful people, and stay safe. Bye.